Thank you. JP was good.
What's good, man? Let's do
Nothing, man. Hey, sorry for the delay. That was JP fault. Nah, that's all me. Messing around
it.
last minute, doing some stuff. Joji, thank you
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for joining us, man. Addie's podcast, Transition with Purpose, where we just giving back to the people like things that they need to know before they start to retire or separate out of military. So again, thank you for coming on. You're actually Air Force, retired Air Force. Thank you for your service and thank you for doing what you do. And still to this day, what you're doing now, man, it's you have put me on to so many things educational wise with this VA benefits and stuff like that. So again, I thank you, man, and
I
salute
appreciate
you
the
for
appreciate the
like
trust.
the information that you give and like you're always available. I'm like this guy like ever not answer the phone or reply back like you always no matter what when if I got questions you always there. So thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. I
You
definitely
do know
appreciate it.
why I do that, right?
No, man. Explain to me. Talk to me,
Well,
man.
the
Let
thing.
us know who you are, where you from, and why.
Oh, okay. Well, to answer that first question, the reason why I answer all calls as fast as I can is because I'm going to forget.
Mm.
That's why it's like, look, if you I tell people, look, when you call me, remind me what we talked about because I'm not going to remember, but I will always answer the phone. Don't just ask me, hey, did you do this? I'm like, what did we do? You see what I mean?
Right,
But if you ask me to do something, I'll do it right there and then because I'm gonna know. I'm not gonna know if we did it or not.
right.
But you can almost be sure that, as you know, when you call me, you ask for something done, it gets done right there and then.
Yeah, you right.
Yeah,
You right.
because I'm gonna forget. I mean
Yeah.
that's one of my, I guess you can call one of my uh
Disabilities.
yeah, disabilities is I can't let anything linger, man. It eats me up.
Mm.
So I
Hmm.
gotta finish it. I mean, even here with the job, man, I'll get it done. I'll get everything done right there. If I told my boss too, don't ask me if we did it again or not because I'm not gonna remember. But if you ask me to do it, because she always says I do everything so quickly. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't want to forget, and that's
Right,
why. Okay.
right.
But you move fast too. That's like you
No,
move
no,
fast.
I do it quick because I'm gonna forget what I'm doing. You see what I mean?
I got you.
I lose my train of thought. In fact, I talk to myself too as I'm doing it because I'm trying to make sure that it gets done.
Right. You
All
right.
right, but
You right.
but yeah. That's why I do a lot of the. I do it so that it's one less thing I gotta do. A lot of people
Mm.
tell me to turn off my emails when I go on leave. I said I can't because if I do that, I come back to 1,000 emails. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I,
Yeah.
I'd rather just
Yeah.
do it. I mean, it doesn't even take that long to fix. You know what I mean? Plus, I'm old, man. It's not like I got any kids to take care of. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm
Right.
on
Hey,
vacation.
Chad,
Yeah, we go over here and just take care of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway,
You got to send him some
No.
Eddie's notepads for Christmas. Eddie's
Yeah,
notepads.
man. Now listen, man. And there's plenty of times I talked to him. He said, "Yeah, man, I'm just on vacation," and I'm like, "Man, I hit you back.
Mm.
I call you. You know, call me back." He's like, "No, no, no, no. I got you." And you take care of it. It's amazing, man. Again, thank you, man.
I
I definitely
appreciate all the
appreciate it.
trust. Like
Yeah.
just Jerome, I've been doing this now for 17 years. Just kind of
Hmm.
ran into it by fluke. Used to be a realtor after active duty. Used to laugh at people with degrees, and because I look at, they show their income so to qualify for a house, and I'm like, man, look at this sap, man, all that college, and this is all he's making, and meanwhile I'm laughing because as a realtor we were making a lot of money back then. Well,
Hmm.
when the market crashed in 2008, that time frame, I found myself with no job because I couldn't. Banks weren't lending money, so I had no income coming in, and so I found myself no job, and I was like looking for a job, and they wanted somebody with a degree.
Right.
Man, and I'm telling you, man, the only job I can get, man, I became a bus driver here at Orange County. Then I decided
Hmm.
to go back to school, and um, good thing was I actually went back. See, I was in all three branches of the Air Force. Okay, I was Air Force active duty, Air National Guard, and then the last part I went back in the Air Force Reserves because of what happened during the market crash. So I
Mm.
went back in the reserve, figured I might as well do that, and started going to college. And they were paying for tuition assistance. I found out the
Hmm.
hard way that you lose your GI Bill 10 years after you leave active duty.
Mm.
So I lost that, but I did get the $1,200 back. But the benefit was worth $60,000. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I got that, and as soon as I got my degree, man, I mean, I actually got to the interviews. That's the thing. A lot of people think that they have to have a specific degree, but it's just like one step. Think of it from this perspective. You're an HR person and you have like a dozen resumes, let's say 200 resumes that come in, but
Mm-hmm.
there's only like 3 jobs available. So it's your job to sort through them and give the interviewer the best candidate, right?
Right.
So if you have people with a degree and people without a degree, I mean, are you even going to waste your time on people without a degree to get to
Yeah.
the interview? You see what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
the guys, they're the guys with a degree will end up on going to the interview or have a better chance of going to an interview. Guys without a degree, their resume is going to end up right in the shredder, never see the
Mm.
light of
Right.
day. And you might have 30
Right.
years of all that experience. You know what I mean? You have
Yeah.
30 years of military
Mm-hmm.
experience, and the employer doesn't even know what they're missing
Mm.
because you never got to the interview. Now, like I said, once I got to the interview because of that piece of paper, they don't even ask you anything about your education.
No, they
It's
don't.
all
Nah.
about your experience. You see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and then they, you do well, you get hired. So I got hired, and the master's what it did. Now here's another thing too. A lot of people think that, when they get their master's, they're more marketable. Okay, but it
Mm.
depends on the job. See, if you're applying for a job that only requires a bachelor's, and you put on your resume that you have all these other degrees, masters, etc., you become overqualified, and guess what? You ain't gonna get the job because it only
Mm-hmm.
requires a bachelor's. Now think of that. Okay, yeah, you're too overqualified, and they're probably going to think that you're not going to stay at that position very long.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? I mean, the employer looks at
Yeah.
it from what's
Yeah.
good for them, not necessarily
Right.
what's good for you. Okay?
Yeah. Especially a service member, because you're used to advancing.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
matter
yeah,
what. Yeah. No matter what rank you used to advancing.
yeah. But the thing is, but if if it's like a stepping stone, and that's all they're doing is just hiring someone with a bachelor's degree, they want someone that's going to stay within that bubble, if you will. You know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
for the needs. And yeah, like I said, I talked to a lot of vets. Hey, I can't get a job. Well, where are you applying at?
Yeah.
And the best, and one more thing too, the best places to apply for jobs as vets. Okay, and I learned this from an HR guy that used to work in General Dynamics. Okay, he was the head of HR for the European division, and he told me, yeah, what I look for is what we call a trifecta. And he said that trifecta is a vet that's one with a degree and has a security clearance or can get a security clearance. Those are, and keep in mind, these are DoD contractors that are looking from. General Dynamics is a DoD contractor, and in fact, he offered me a job starting at 136,000,
Mm.
and I said, man, I don't want to go to Germany, man. I'm old, man, because I mean, he's actually sending me picture, he's FaceTiming me while they're over at the red light district in Germany,
Mm-hmm.
trying to entice me. I'm like, dude, man, when I was active duty, yeah, but
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
say those three things one more time, just in case somebody need to write
all
it
right,
down.
the trifecta. Okay, you're a vet with a degree
Mm-hmm.
and can get a security clearance or already have one.
Yep. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean?
They say both of
It's
them
Message.
things.
and I was like, man, you know what? You're right. And so I asked the guy because the guy I was talking to couldn't. He said he can't get a job. I said, where are you applying at? I'm applying at all these different places. Well, look for the DoD contractors. Like General Dynamics, McDonnell Douglas, all those guys that have big contracts with the government. And take a look. I mean, they hire a lot faster than the DoD itself. You know what I mean? Because the DoD, when you apply, it's going to take you at least 6 months if you even get hired. You know what I mean? Because of the
Right. Right.
bureaucracy.
Right.
And also, I said, are you putting are you applying for jobs that require a master's degree, or what are you applying for? He says, yeah, I'm just applying for every job. It just minimum is having a bachelor's degree, and you're putting all those. And how many masters you got? I got 2. So you're putting both masters on a job that only requires a bachelor's.
Mm.
I said, well, take that off your resume. You could once you get to their interview, yeah, then you can say all that.
Mm.
But when they're doing the sorting out process, stick with this, the main stuff. And that way you can get there because if it doesn't require a master's degree, you shouldn't put your master's degree on there.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I hope that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
It does because the person doing the interview might feel threatened by you, showing up with all this paper
exactly.
behind you.
Yeah.
It's like, man,
So
boy, this
don't.
guy's gonna get my job. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's
Right.
gonna take
Right.
my
Right.
job.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey. I
Yep.
got it. Let me slow this joker down right now. No, we not hiring. Sorry.
Yeah. 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 Or we'll let you know. That's the answer that they always give you. We'll
No,
let you know.
we're going to go in a different direction.
Yeah, and then you get an email. You get an email like a Dear John email.
Right, right, right.
um,
Yeah.
Now go ahead. I mean, I was. We had a couple
No,
of
no, no, no.
topics.
So no, no. So what's your current role now, and where do you work at?
Well, I'm actually the director of military outreach here at Trident University International. I my position is basically very specific because all the other people at my level are called campus directors, but I'm the only one with the title of director of military outreach, and the reason why is because I have this knack of getting students without any well, the school doesn't spend any money on what I do, and they save anywhere from they save and also make over $250,000 a month from the money that they save and they make because my students actually enroll, they start, and they continue on. And the reason why they continue on, as I was telling Jerome earlier, was because not all degrees are the same. And for example, okay, I was a cook, okay, in the Air Force at the time. So I'm coming to you and say, you know what, I want to do a computer science degree. Why is that? Because it makes a lot of money on the outside. Okay, do you have any computer science experience? No. That's why I want to learn. All right. But if you really look at it from the outside, most employers, when it comes to IT, they want people with certs, not necessarily the degree in computer science. And just to give you a better case in point, I actually started a computer science degree back when I was younger, back in 1983. Think about that, 1983, 82. If I would have finished that, man, I mean, the technology back in the 80s is different from the technology right now. So my degree would only be a degree
Right.
and not applicable to any of the computer science technology right now in today's world. That's why I always say, I'm like, that if you pick this degree, nothing, your foods, like I said, talking to a cook, right? You know that food service and computer science are not necessarily the same. So how much of your food service credits or culinary arts credits going to transfer into a computer science degree?
None.
None. And in essence, when you're doing that, all of a sudden you have a lot more classes. And this is what happens to GIs as well. Okay, we have 3 years of benefits, right? If you have your GI Bill, you got 36 months, and they go in there, they pick a long ass degree. I hope you don't mind me saying that,
Oh
but
no, you
they,
good, man. Go
yeah,
ahead.
they pick a long ass degree, and the thing is, you'll find a lot of our brothers and sisters don't have a degree, and they run out of all their benefits. They used it all up and got nothing to show for it
Mm.
because they don't know the mechanics. Now, the reason why I've been in the reason why this position was created for me and why I get so many people coming to Trident is because of word of mouth. First of all, I tell them about, look, are you looking for a specific degree or are you looking to finish? Because that's
Mm.
two different things, okay? And they want me to explain more. See, not all degrees are created equal. You got to pick a degree that's flexible on transfer credits, meaning, how you have your military credits, right? You look at your military credits, but the thing is, they're all semester hours. They're college credits. But if you try to pick a degree that it's not compatible with, you're basically wasting all that training and earned credits by leaving it on the table. And like I said, this is why I put people into, for example, an associates where they're basically using it. For example, like at school, I put them into an associates in professional studies, which is just a fancy word for what they've done. See, the professional study. And all they're doing is just the general eds, English 1, English 2, math, science. But everything else comes from the JST. And typically, man, I mean, they're really shocked. And here's a case in point. So the guy finishes in about 4 months. He's really shocked that man, I'm already done. Yeah, because you only had to do the 4 classes. Okay.
Mm.
And then after that, he goes into the bachelor's. And because of the bachelor's, by the way, is in leadership. Well, guess what your JSTs are? It's all leadership, is it? Is it not?
Basically,
Hmm.
You
yeah,
see what I mean?
yeah.
So the more you transfer in, the lesser number of classes you got to take. Does that make sense? You see what I mean?
Yeah,
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 yeah.
absolutely.
So yeah, so typically they finish quicker, and so next thing I know, they're already in their master's program, and I'm getting a call from somebody else, one of their cohorts, and the cohort just calls out of the blue and says, "Hey, I'm calling because one of my guys told me to give you a call. I just want to be able to understand because I'm working on my associates,
Mm.
and I'm still working on my associates. Meanwhile, this guy just started after me through you, and is already working on his master's, and I'm still working on my associates."
Oh wow.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because all I did was try to maximize what they already have.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, man, I mean, I'm telling you, typically my guys finish their associates and bachelors within a year just with their military credits,
Oh wow.
unless they're brand new. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
there's,
yeah. Right,
but
right. You talk about some people that's kind of seasoned, been around for
yeah, 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 and
for a
you've
few
gotten
years.
all that training that's
Yeah,
on your
yeah.
JSTs,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
after that, they're like really shocked that they have a bachelor's already after a year. And
Yeah.
the thing is, you think about it, okay? If the bachelor's is in leadership, how much of your experience, I mean, would it take for you to write a paper on
Yeah.
leadership?
Yeah. You got a lot of stories.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
it's
Real
that,
life stories.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and when it's that more, when it's something very familiar, you know what? You end up actually finishing the degree
Mm-hmm.
because it's what you've been doing for the last umpteen years, you know?
Yeah.
And then after that, you know, you look at you want a particular master. See, the masters, at least with Trident, it doesn't require a particular bachelor's. As long as you have a bachelor's, you can pick any master's degree. And the master's degree, which a lot of people are shocked, even myself, because I wasn't planning on doing the master's until my counselor told me it's only 9 classes. I'm like, what? Nine
Yeah.
classes? Yeah.
Hmm.
And you can fit if you want to do one at a time, you can finish in 18 months. If you want to do two at a time, you'll be done in 10 months. You see what I mean? And it's
Right.
like, all
Do
right.
you think? Do you think, in your opinion? Now we gonna talk about some other stuff, but in your opinion, do you think companies really look for leadership in a candidate?
Well, here's the thing again, going back to what we talked about earlier. First of all, you got to get through HR, okay?
Yeah.
And keep in
Yeah.
mind,
That's
for the
right.
most part, jobs out there, unless you're looking for something specific like nursing, being a doctor, pilot,
Right.
engineer, you know what I mean? But when you're applying for a job, I mean, like I said, it goes through the HR process. And if the HR person is sorting them out, would you rather have on your resume that you have already a degree completed versus working on a degree?
Mm. Yeah.
You see,
Well,
put
yeah.
that
You want to have one completed. Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
You put that in perspective because I'm working on, I want to get a business degree, so I'm still working on it, but you still got a whole bunch of classes left versus having a degree in leadership. And now think of it from this perspective. How many jobs actually require some kind of supervision, leadership, or management? You see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
mean,
that's what I was saying. Yeah. Like. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and that's one thing that they train us in the military is all about leadership, managing. I mean, not everyone can be a leader also, you know? I
Right.
mean,
Right. Right.
but
It's something
again,
that we do on a daily basis that it's like becomes the norm. Just
and
leading
when you think about that,
groups
okay,
of people. Yeah.
how much more doable would it be to finish a leadership degree or courses that are all pretty much leadership stuff that you've already done in the past
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
familiar. You see what I mean? Because we go in there and
Yeah.
I'm like, dang man, I'm actually finishing this.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
go in there,
More
yeah, I
weighty.
know this, and you don't have to do a lot of research on something that you already know.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
All right, I mean,
Nah.
let's just face
Nah.
it. It's the reality of the corporate world is that piece of paper. But once
Piece
you
of
get
paper.
there again, once you get to that interview because of that degree, and they don't, it's all about what you've done in the past. If you got, like you said, you got a retired E9 with 30 plus years of experience and doesn't have a degree, man, the employer is losing out because they'll never be able to interview the person. If they go through that process of
Right. That process. I
finding
guess
people without a degree.
then it
Right.
depends what type of job they looking for.
Yeah, yeah,
At the
yeah.
same time. So that all matters. So
Uh,
with like talk about like VA educational benefits.
All right,
Um,
there's a
like
lot.
when should it? I know. So when should a service member should start planning to use their benefits? Like, because
Now,
it's a lot of benefits that we get offered to us.
and everything is always, it depends, right? Because it
Uh
depends
huh.
on the service person's background. If they have kids, they want to transfer the benefits to their kids. And not all benefits can be transferred, only the post 9/11. Okay. And you have to have a
Hmm.
certain amount of retainability when you do that. Um, but my recommendation, if they're still on active duty, is to try to use up as much of the tuition assistance as possible, even if they only have a year left. All right.
Mm.
And the reason why I say even just a year left, think about it. Okay. If you don't have any college at all except for the military, and you're coming to our school over here, I would recommend at least finishing the associates using tuition assistance. And that way,
Be-
when they're out, they already have a nice foundation. It might not be as high up there, but you've already knocked out all the general eds. And now you go into a bachelor's degree, it's actually shorter versus starting from the beginning. You see what I mean? I mean,
Right.
that's what, and that's what I'd recommend is doing that now. Planning on doing it afterwards. What I do now, I'm
Right.
transferring. I transferred all my benefits. Well, the other thing too is you try to find other funding. Okay, and like I said, it varies. I mean, every situation is different. Um, for example, I got a guy that got out. I mean, he gets out. Keep in mind, right? He was my student during active duty. He gets out and he says, "Hey, I just got rated at 100%." I'm
Mm.
like, "Okay, good. Are your kids going to be using Chapter 35? Do you know what Chapter 35 is?" And a lot of them do, and a lot of them don't. And when
Mhm.
you explain it to them, it's like, they get 36 months of benefits each to go to school. It may not be as much as the post 9/11, but depending on the state, some schools have scholarships that cover the cost of tuition and they just get a monthly stipend. And you can literally, your post 9/11 doesn't expire. So you can save that for something else. All
Mm.
right. So that,
Mhm.
that's one thing. But as far as you don't want to touch it, okay, that's fine. And as you know, the new thing that came out, the Montgomery GI Bill. They used to call it the Rudisill. So they
Yeah.
they took that out now. You can apply for the Montgomery GI Bill straight up now as a regular application without the Rudisill check marks anymore because that thing started getting backlogged and
Yeah.
backlogged. I mean, in the
Right.
beginning, it was 30 days, 45 days, 75 days,
Right.
then went up to a year.
But
All
people
right. And they
started hearing
finally,
about it more. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Once they finally
Yeah.
figured out, just like when the post 9/11 came out. I don't know if you guys remember that at all, but when it first came out, the VA was writing paper checks
Mm.
because yeah, they
Mhm.
you literally had to
Mm.
go in line and get a check to start school because
Oh,
it
Oh
was
wow.
wow.
yeah, that's
Okay.
how old I am. Okay, so
Yeah. Yeah.
but this
Wow.
was back in 2009. Okay,
Uh huh.
2009 when the post 9/11 first came out, and so now with the Rudisill, okay, you apply for it. It's basically giving you like 12 months, give or take, of benefits, but it pays you directly 25.18 is the current rate per month to go to school as long as you're full time. And but you have to take the cost of tuition from that or find
Yeah.
another way of paying for the tuition. Now, a lot of vets, I don't know if they realize it, but FAFSA they think is only Pell Grant, but FAFSA is also is the same application for student loans. And the word loan is really negative when you think about it because you got to pay it back, etc. But when you use it in the right context for something that you have, because for example, okay, vets at 100%, if they take out student loans, they don't have to pay it back because it's part of the forgiveness program. And you can look it up on the studentaid.gov website. It'll show the total and permanent loan forgiveness program for vets. Um, so you can literally go to school, have the student loans pay for it, and after you're done, you're basically going to be debt free from having any student loans as a vet.
Right.
Another one too, because I
Now
messed
hold
up on
on. Now
this.
with that one, you can use in conjunction with like Chapter 35.
Yeah, you can
That's
you do.
that's
Let's say
good.
you do a combination of Chapter 35 or any of the GI Bills. Okay,
Any of the
the only
GI
di-
bills.
yeah, the only
See?
difference is
Okay.
only the post 9/11 and VRE Chapter 31 pay the school directly. Okay, the rest get paid directly to the vet, so the vet has to pay for the school, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if they're using FAFSA, the FAFSA funds are the ones that pay for the school. And meanwhile, they're getting that monthly stipend where they don't have to pay the school out of that money since FAFSA is already paying for it, provided they
Mhm.
qualify. Okay.
All right. So
Um,
hold on. We're gonna get to that. Let's talk real quick about the different education programs. The post 9/11. I want to kind of detail each one if we can.
yeah.
Post 9/11, Montgomery GI Bill, BRNE, and a Yellow Ribbon Program. Can we just talk about each one, and then we can talk about the fast
All
vote
right.
and how all things come to play?
So let's talk about the post
9/11 GI.
9/11.
Okay.
Yeah, the post 9/11. Okay. So it has a couple of variables. Okay. Number one, you would have had to serve after 9/11 2001 to qualify for the benefit. Okay. You have to have served 3 years on active duty after 9/11 to get the full 36 months. Okay. Another caveat is if you for the perpetual the post 9/11 that doesn't expire means that you have to had to be on active duty as of January 1, 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone serving prior to that has a 15-year time limit to use it. So if they got out in 2008, they only had until 2023 to use the to use it. Otherwise, it expired. Okay, and I
Really?
got some of those. Yeah, I got some of those. That's why they end up applying for VRNE. Okay, now, so when you think, okay, so since I'm talking about VRNE, okay, VRNE is basically the post 9/11, but with more benefits. Okay, and I'm gonna move a little bit because my
Okay, go ahead.
granddaughter's here. Okay, I'm gonna go step outside.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. No, you good.
All right. So VRNE is like the post 9/11, but it is a but it number the difference between the two, okay? The VRNE requires approval from the VRNE counselor, as Jerome found out, right? It
Yeah.
requires approval. Post 9/11, you can pick anything as long as as long as the school is approved with the VA. Yeah, you are the one that picks the program you want to be in. For VRNE, it's the counselor that has to approve the program. You might pick a program, but if he doesn't approve it, they're not gonna fund it. All right. So you get all that, but you also get the monthly stipend, just like the post 9/11. But the big difference is you can actually get a computer, printer, ink, the whole 9 yards. They pay for all that. That's the difference between the post 9/11 and VRNE Chapter 31. It's pretty much the post 9/11 on a little bit of steroids, if you will.
Is it trying to like what? Like get you back into like
It's
the
the whole goal
community?
of yeah, the whole goal of Chapter 31 is to help you become employable. Just keep that in mind, okay? All right. And if you're already employed, as we found out, you're
Yeah.
gainfully employed and you already have a degree, guess what? They're gonna tell you there's nothing we can do for you because you've already accomplished that on your own. Yeah, same here. I was just talking about that earlier. Okay, we're just going to VRNE. And keep in mind, I live in Orange County, California. Back then, VRNE was not video. You actually had to go to the VA, and the VA where they had the actual VRNE counselor was all the way in Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. And I mean, look, the appointment was at 8 o'clock in the morning, okay, and I left at 5 o'clock. All right, thinking I'd get there within an hour because it's not really that far, but because of the traffic, I got there at quarter to 8, exactly 15 minutes prior to the appointment. And I go over to the federal building. You got this long line, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna make that appointment. And I was about ready to steer back and just said, forget it. But they had a line, VA veterans line over here, and there was no line. So I went through that, got there, and you go through there. They had me do like a little test on the computer to see what would where you would fit. It's like it's not the ASVAB, but it's like where it's like a placement test. You know what I
A
mean?
placement test.
Job
So
placement test,
a
huh?
job
Yeah, yeah,
placement
yeah.
test.
Yeah, so I took
Okay.
that, and then we go through it. You fill out the application, and I'm telling you, man, keep in mind, man, this is 8 o'clock in the morning, right? And so they interview all of us, and we gotta wait till 1 o'clock. So at 1 o'clock, they finally called us. They call you in one at a time, each VRE counselor, and the guy tells me, "Man, there's nothing I can do for you. You're already gainfully employed and already have a degree." And I'm like, "Man, why did I even waste my time coming over here?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
after that, so keep in mind, so 1 o'clock, right? So 1:30, man, I'm trying to get out of there. 1:30, man, I go back in that. Now it's the traffic again, going home. You see what I mean? Man, and
Oh,
then
and
they
they
give
got
you,
the day is longer, and you went down there for nothing.
yep, and they give you a lousy, I don't know how much, man, for gas
Oh,
or
traffic. Yeah.
mileage, man.
Traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So now I just basically knowing what I know, this is why I do a lot of advice. I tell a lot of people, it's like, hey, I'm going to apply for VRNE. I'm like, dude, you're not going to get approved. Why not? You're working, right? Yeah. How many masters you got? Two? Yeah, you ain't going to get approved.
So you
They're
can
going to
you
tell
can
you.
at least have one degree, or you shouldn't have none when you
Now,
apply for that.
that one depends. It really depends on the counselor. Okay, because I mean I've been doing this a long time, and I've been corrected a couple of times. I told a student, man, your VRE counselor is not going to approve you. You already got a master's degree. No, no, you will. And sure enough, the VRE counselor approved this guy for a second master's degree.
Oh wow.
And then there are some that won't even approve him for a master's. You know what I mean? They'll only approve you for the bachelor's, and that's it. They won't give you any
Oh
more.
wow.
So you see what I mean? It's all dependent on the advisor, based on what you're trying to do, based on your level of disability, why you want to get this degree. Because it's like, man, I can't do this job anymore. and I need to do
Yeah.
something else,
With
and
mine last week, one of the things she keyed in on was how are your, because they have your whole all your
file.
disabilities listed.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one of these disabilities are preventing you from working? I'm already working, and I didn't know. That was it. X. You don't need you don't need to
Yeah,
go.
yeah, you're done. You're done. Yeah,
Right.
Right.
that was a quick interview.
So there you go. I mean, don't lie to the people, but hey,
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
Montgomery GI Bill, they,
All right.
you know, we went away with that, but you got the ruler seal, and you said they went away with that. But some people got an extra 12 months
mm-hmm.
for
Right,
a certain amount
because
of
of the
money.
Rudisill. Yeah, because of the
Yeah.
Rudisill review. Okay,
Right.
so that's because if you serve more than 6 years, meaning 2 full terms, as far as the GI Bill is concerned, and you paid into the Montgomery GI Bill, but gave it up to get the post 9/11, that's what the VA is doing, is giving it back to you because they lost that they couldn't do that. Basically, is what the
Right.
Rudisill review came out to. What they did was illegal, and therefore the benefit, they're giving you an additional 12 months, or you can opt to get the $1,200 back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, so that's basically what it is, and it helps out. I mean, I got a guy that already ran out of his post 9/11. He's been using student loans for the whole time, and once he got this, he goes, "Hey, I need to enroll for another program so I can get my benefits." Wait a minute, I said, "Aren't you using student loans?" He goes, "Yeah." "And you're about to graduate?" "Yeah." "You know that they can backdate it up to a year, right?" "No,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that." "All right, send your COE to your finance advisor. Tell them you want to be retro certified for the last 12 months. All right. And he's then, because I've done this a couple of times already, but if you multiply 2518 by 12 months, that's over $30,000 that the VA is going to pay you as a direct deposit. All
I
right.
believe
And
that.
yeah, these guys, yeah, and they're like thanking me after that. I said, "You don't have to enroll for another program, man." I mean, because a lot of people, a lot of us vets, we go to school just so that we can get all of our benefits.
Yeah.
But if you can do that, you see what I mean? I said, "Man, you're about to," because he graduates end of August. So he's like, I said, "You better go send that now, and don't be procrastinating, because if you go beyond the 12 months and you're not in school, you're only gonna get paid for 11 months. And if you keep procrastinating, it goes 10 months, 9 months, and then you're gonna have to really go back to school." You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yes. It's always best to keep it going.
yeah, I mean, do it now or just get it done. Don't procrastinate. And I mean, there are
Yeah.
people out there that procrastinate and find out that they have a time limit. Remember what I was talking about as far as the post 9/11?
Mm-hmm.
If you retired or got out prior to January 1, 2013, there's an expiration date
I
on
didn't
your
know
post
that.
9/11. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah.
if you got 36 months and it's like you're on the 14th year, you're only going to be able to use 12 months of that benefit because it's going to expire.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. That's that fine
Yeah,
print, huh?
yeah, it's that time frame. I mean, they put it out there, and then again after that, because mine expired. Remember, I told you I lost my Montgomery GI Bill because
Right.
it expired. Montgomery GI Bill expires 10 years after you leave active duty. So I'm going to school, and they said, "Nah, your GI Bill expired." And then when I finally found out about the VRNE, because I didn't know anything about. Keep in mind, I was new also at the time, and all
Mm-hmm.
this information that you and I and Jerome are talking about is stuff that I've learned throughout the years from other vets.
Right.
And I found out about VRNE, and that's when I applied. But I didn't know that you know, what the mechanics were. Because they send you a letter after you apply and says, "Hey, you actually have 29 months that you can use." I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Cool."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
29 months.
Yeah.
But again, it requires the approval of the VRD counselor. You see what I mean?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. That's what.
The
See,
one
that's what
program
these people
I'm
don't know.
not keen on is the yellow ribbon program.
All right, all right. So the yellow ribbon. Okay, a lot of people misconstrue what that is. Okay, I mean, for example, like Trident, they asked me, is Trident a yellow ribbon school? Yeah, but honestly, it's because just so that we can be put on the like this list of schools that are yellow ribbon. And basically
Mm-hmm.
what yellow ribbon is it's an agreement with the school that if the tuition exceeds what the VA gives, right? For example, roughly it's about what, 30,000 a year is what the GI Bill is worth, give or
Mm-hmm.
take. All right, so let's say that tuition. Let's say you want to go into a nursing program, but the tuition is like 60,000 bucks, right? So the GI Bill will only cover up to the limit. But
Right.
if it's a yellow ribbon school, the yellow ribbon school matches dollar for dollar for what the VA pays. So if the VA pays 30,000, the yellow ribbon school will also match it with $30,000. So therefore,
Oh,
the tuition is covered. That's why they call it a yellow ribbon school. Try to keep in mind, like Trident, okay? They say we're a yellow ribbon school. We don't even exceed the limit of the VA.
Limit.
You
Yeah.
see what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't say
Yeah.
we're a
hmm
yellow ribbon school just so that we're on that list. Hey, I
Right.
want to be
hmm
on the yellow ribbon program. I'm like, dude, man, you're not even gonna get close to the to the limit. You see what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You
But
never
that's
get close
basically
to it.
what it is. Okay, the
Oh,
yellow ribbon
okay.
school is designed to cover what the VA doesn't cover if it exceeds the cost.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah, thank
Now,
you.
now,
Yeah.
now, what? Yeah, I never knew that. That's definitely some good information. So, when using Chapter 35 along, like you like how you broke it down, like you could use it for your spouse, all your
Yes.
kids. But I know some you gotta like go to school like within state. Am I correct by majority of it? Or you could go unless it's online somewhere, I guess.
Well, I mean, it depends because I mean, like I tell a lot of my student, I'm like, you're better off going to a community college because because they actually because as a state college they have benefits for veteran dependents. All right, if you go to our school, I mean, it's a private school, and you might end up paying out of pocket. I mean, but if you want to finish with us, yeah, I mean, so I got some of them that'll use financial aid and their VA benefits to pay for it, but they really, they're there to get a degree. All right,
Yeah.
but if you want to
Yeah.
go to school, I mean, the cheapest way is actually really the community college because even if you have to pay a little bit, the in-state tuition is a lot cheaper than a private school. I mean,
Mm.
but like here in California, okay, if you're a Cal vet and you have kids that are going to go to any of the state-funded schools, and I'm not talking about just community college, I'm talking about Cal
Mm-hmm.
State,
Mm-hmm.
University of California schools, the tuition
Yeah.
is free. All right, the tuition is actually free. All right, and then they get that Chapter
For those
35
chapter
benefit.
35, you talking about for the if you're 100%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you're 100%, you get
100%.
that Chapter 35.
100% total and permanent.
Yes,
Is the
correct,
chapter
correct.
35. Chapter 35 benefit.
Yes, but that's for the dependents. Okay,
That's
that's
for
not
the
for the vet.
dependents.
Yep.
Right. And even it could be vet to vet where you and your spouse can be veterans.
You guys are
100%
each other's. You guys are each other's dependents. So you
dependents.
get 36 months of your. Well, you're getting 36 months because your spouse is 100%, and vice versa.
Vice versa.
All right. So yeah,
And the kids as well.
and the kids also. Now with the kids, it's a little different. Okay, so the kids, if both parents are 100%, the VA actually gives them an option to combine both. But unlike it's not like you're combining 36 months. They're
Mm-hmm.
basically combining the monthly payments of 36 months into 18 months. You see what I
Okay.
mean? So
Yeah.
instead of getting 1578 a month, they're getting 3,000 and some change every month by combining the two. All right, but
Wow.
it's only good for 18 months. You see what I mean?
So
Instead
you
of
only
Yeah,
get it
yeah,
36.
yeah.
for 36. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And
Say
the
if yeah,
expiration
okay.
and there's the expiration dates. Okay, so for the
Mm-hmm.
kids, the expiration date is the age of 26. So they have up till the age of 26 to use those benefits.
Mm.
Okay. With the spouse, the benefits expire 10 years after the sponsor got rated at 100%. All right. So
Mhm.
the spouse has 10 years to use the 36 months.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I didn't know
But
that.
that's
Okay.
but
Oh,
that's
yeah.
after they're
Okay.
rated at 100 after the sponsor got rated at 100%. Okay. There is an
Oh,
expiration
wow.
date. Yeah. Which a
Oh,
lot of people
oh
don't
man.
know.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a
Mhm.
lot of things because I mean, keep in mind the only thing that doesn't have an expiration date is the post 9/11, and if you served after January 1, 2013, that is the magic
Mm-hmm.
number.
Okay. Okay. So again, the spouse has 10 years to use it after the
Yep,
service member, after
got
the
rated
veteran got
veteran
rated
at
100%.
100. Yep,
Okay. And the kids, they got up to the age of
6. As long as they're full
26,
time, okay, they got to be full
full
time,
time,
okay.
full time. And that's all tuition free.
Well, that's a monthly payment. They just give them,
Monthly payment.
yeah. So they got to
Okay.
figure out how to pay for school with that monthly payment, and that's why you combine it with FAFSA or scholarships, etc. All
Okay.
right, but it is
Okay.
36 months. You know, I mean, it's not unlike the
Right.
GI Bill or the post 9/11 where guys separate. You know, I give my
Yeah.
wife 10 months, 6 months, you know, etc. I mean, it's a start, but it's not going to pay for
Mm-hmm.
all the school. You know what I mean? At
Okay.
least this one pays a little bit more because it's longer.
Now, even with FAFSA, if the kids or the spouse use it, they're still
Oh yeah,
can
that's
get it.
another thing too. Yeah. So here's another thing too. Being 100% also, not for the spouse, okay, but only for the children, okay? If
Okay.
the if the veteran is 100% and they're the ones that co-sign for the parent plus student loans under FAFSA. Because when you log into FAFSA, it'll ask if you're the student or the parent.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to log in as the parent, and then you're basically going to fill it out, who your kid is, etc. And see, those loans are also forgiven, the
Mm.
parent plus student loans, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Just keep in mind though, it's a one-time forgiveness, so you want to make sure everybody's done pretty much at the same time.
I got you. That's
All
key.
right.
That's
Yeah, that's
key.
key. That is key.
Yeah.
But you know what, man? Because of your service, they're able to finish school, you know,
Mm-hmm.
being debt free because of what you've done. And you know, I mean, look, people out there, man, I mean, you know, they save a lot of money to put their kids through college so that they
Yeah.
don't go into debt. But you
Right.
put in your time and service and basically got messed up by the government. So you're using your benefits so your kids don't have to incur debt.
Right.
That's a big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And keep
That's
in
a
mind,
big
it's a
deal.
benefit. A lot of our vets do not use it, do not know it. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
find out from other vets, just like
Right.
I was telling you earlier, because my daughter, you know, my wife is the better half, so she was the one that co-signed for her student loan.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
had I known, I would have co-signed, but I didn't know, and I already got my loans forgiven.
Mm-hmm. Oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and that's why I passed that on to all the other vets. I'm like, look, it's a one-time thing, man. If your kids are planning to go into school, make sure you plan it out right. All right, make sure you're the one that co-signs because you're the one that gets the benefit of the forgiveness,
Right.
not your spouse.
Right. Right.
Right. Right. What are like the biggest mistakes veterans make that cost them money or educational opportunities?
Well, a lot of them look at the BAH, okay? Like, and now this depends, okay? Because there are students that basically don't want to do anything with the degree; they just want to get the benefit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got a student that basically um, went to San Francisco, went to barber school because the BAH was over $5,100 a month. All
Ooh
right,
wee.
the VA pays even New York. New York's like over $4,000, but this guy's in San Francisco. He gets a barber. He goes to barber school, gets all the benefits. But the thing is, it's only a temporary benefit. It's only 36 months. So he got all that money for 36 months, but he doesn't even cut hair. So now it's like, okay, so now you got a little piece of paper, but you're not cutting hair. So now what? You're back to finding menial jobs because you don't have a degree. You see what I mean? I
Right.
mean, it's little things like
Oh,
that. I mean,
right, right. You got the money, but you still don't.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's another thing too. That's why I tell them, look, because sometimes I do get vets that come over already, and they've already used like the majority of it, just working on an associate's degree. Again, it's all about picking the right program, right? If you
Yeah.
pick the wrong program and transfer nothing in, you end up being in school a lot longer, and you're depleting your benefits because
Mm-hmm.
of the length of time. But when you pick something short because of the degree being flexible enough to take your military credits and anything else that you've done in the past and apply it. For example, like I said, the fastest student I got that finished the associates was 4 months. So they only used 4 months of benefits. You see what I mean? And then
Mm-hmm.
they have 32 months left to do whatever. If they want the shortest bachelors, typically we finish in about 6 to 8 months, depending on what they have. But if you think about that, they have their associate's bachelor's within a year. They still got 24 months of benefits, and they already have a bachelor's and an associate's degree. All right, you see what I mean, right? That's what I'm
Yeah. 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 I always say, people want to go to, associates in history. Like, you're never going to teach history. You need to find the closest alligator to the boat. And if you just want a piece of paper, find the closest alligator to the boat
yeah,
and
yeah,
talk to them
yeah.
counselors, and then you got an associate's. No matter what nobody
Yeah,
says, you got an associate's. You might not never use
yeah,
that field, but you
but
got
you
an
got that
associate's.
check mark. Yep. and then you
Yep.
yeah, and like I said, it gets you that much closer to finishing the bachelor's degree. See, you
Yeah.
know,
Criminal justice, psychology. You're not gonna do nothing with that stuff when you know you
and
loading
be and you
bombs.
know
You're
what,
not
bro,
gonna do none of that stuff.
you're gonna get trained if you're gonna go into criminal justice, let's say law enforcement, they're gonna train you anyway. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And plus, with the military experience, I mean that's another thing too. But I always tell them, well, if you want to finish something, if you finish something that is shorter, okay, make sure everything and anything you've done in the past can count. That way, no matter what, you always have that degree, and you'll never, you won't lose it. And that's again, like I said, this is one of the reasons why the mistakes you're talking about. Yeah, they wish that they would have started school sooner. Just to go back on your question. And okay, with what limited amount of time they got left, I asked them, can you at least try to get TA for 2 classes? If you only, you know what I mean? Because you get $4,500 a year, and sometimes you think about how long were you in? 20 years. You ever use TA? No. So 4,500 times 10 years is 45,000 times two, because we're talking about 20. So in essence, you basically left $90,000 on the table to go to school, not to go to school. You see what I mean? When
Yeah.
it could have been paid for by the military and your GI Bill still would have been intact. That's why I tell a
So
lot of
what?
on
them,
active duty.
start early. Yeah,
So
while on active duty, utilize that TA.
Yeah.
I mean, utilize the TA because it's a separate benefit. It doesn't take away from your GI Bill when you get out.
so if someone came to you, that they coming up on the end of their career or get ready to get out, whatever the case may be, and they like, I'm behind the 8 ball and I want to take 3 or 4 classes at a time. What do you tell that person?
Well, you can't take that many at a time, but we
Right.
can, and plus, if this is going to be your first time, you might want to test it out first because I'm not trying to set you up for failure, okay?
Hmm.
But like our classes, one of the first classes is meant to get you acclimated to the online platform, and then you pick another class, for example, business ethics, which is just basically ethics. Knowing right from wrong, making the right decision. And the thing about now, keep in mind this is separate from the general eds, okay? Because I hated general eds. The difference between general eds are pretty specific. You know what I mean? You have to have a specific grammar for English, the science, the math, right? Because because you're actually doing computations, etc. Okay. But when it comes to the upper level courses, the 300, 400, it's pretty much all critical thinking. Because, for example, ethics, right?
Mm.
What your definition of ethics could be different from mine and vice versa. It doesn't mean we're both wrong or both right. It's just that that's the way that we feel. And it's like with supervision, right? You could look at, you could rate somebody differently than another supervisor would rate that person. But it doesn't mean you're both wrong or both right. It's just that that's the way that you interpret what your ethical standards are, for example, right? I mean, and you see that a lot with politics. They think that they're right and the other one's wrong and vice versa, but they both could be right, they both could be wrong. Like I said, it's all critical thinking as long as you can back it up. And once they get through that, it's like, man, because that's how, I was really shocked because it's different from when I went to school a long time ago, going into the school now where it's critical thinking. Man, you can put anything on there as long as you can back it up. There's no right or wrong with critical
Yeah.
thinking. All right. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. I hope I didn't go off topic on what we were talking about.
Nah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's
No.
just
So
getting
how should
people on
an
the right
active
path.
duty? Yeah. How do active duty members like use TA with the GI Bill? Just to kind of how
Okay.
do they
So
work
that one,
together?
now that is one thing that I always discourage. Okay. And the reason why I discourage it, okay, for example, okay, let's say that the tuition, for example, like Trident used to do this before they waived the excess amount that TA doesn't cover. But for example, the masters back then was like $1,300 a class. TA would only cover 1,000, and the students would use what was called top up, which would cover the $300 per
Hmm.
class. Think about that, okay? If you're only gonna do one class and the class lasts 2 months, right? You're basically burning through 2 months of benefits that are worth over $5,000 for
Mm,
$300. Think about it. You see what I mean?
mm, mm,
That's why I tell them, man, don't even
mm.
touch it. Just pay the 300
So then
bucks.
top. Okay. So the top up is coming from the GI Bill.
Yeah, the top up is just basically covering what TA doesn't cover. And it's such a small
Mm,
amount, unless the
yeah.
tuition's like $3,000, the TA covers 1,000 and top up will cover 2,000, then that makes sense. But if you're only talking about a couple $100. You're better off paying it versus burning through 2 months of benefits that are worth a lot more than $300. All right, you see what I mean? I mean, that's why I always recommend. I always tell them. I mean, if you're going to use the GI Bill, use the GI Bill. Don't. There's no need to use TA
Yeah.
because your GI Bill is going
Yeah.
to pay for the whole tuition anyway. And besides, TA, if you use TA and you fail, the military is going to take that back. You know what I mean? You got to pay them back. But see, with the GI Bill, you're allowed to take the classes twice. You can fail the classes twice and don't have to pay it back. You see what I mean? So I mean, obviously it's a wasted benefit, but I'm just saying, you know, from that perspective, that's why I'm like, why don't use both benefits? That's when it doesn't make sense to use both benefits.
Right.
But
Yeah, active duty. When you active duty.
yeah, and the thing is, if
Yeah.
you're using TA and you know low ranking wise, right? If you're low ranking as well, you know, junior enlisted and may qualify for the Pell Grant, combine that with TA. Because TA is paying for the tuition, and then you're getting extra money for whatever books, or whatever you need. If you
Right.
needed a new laptop, for example, right? I mean, and of course, Pell Grant you don't have to pay back. So if they qualify, they should use everything that they can. Keep in mind, it's all I always attack it from the point of not paying anything back because it's a benefit you have and use it. You don't want to go into debt. All right, if that makes sense. That's why I wouldn't.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't recommend the spouses doing you know, FAFSA student loans because they're not the ones that get their loans forgiven. All right.
Okay.
Now, the veteran, on the other hand, if they're both going to school at the same time, and you know, the veteran can use his student loan money to pay for his wife's tuition. You know what I mean?
The veteran can use his student loan to pay for the wife's tuition.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Because you know how you get the student loan, and then once
Froze
you
up.
get it, I mean, you could pay for her tuition through
There you
that.
go.
or can you repeat that
If you don't
again?
want, if you don't want your spouse to
Say
go
that
into
again.
debt.
You froze up a little bit.
Which one? The
What
okay.
about?
Yeah, yeah. If let's say, for example, you and your wife, right, are going to school, and you're the vet, your wife's not. She gets Chapter 35. All right, so she gets a certain stipend every month. But let's just say that it's not enough to cover the classes. Okay. All right. So, but you are, you know, you're taking out student loans, you're using your GI Bill benefits, and you get a quarter, or should I say, a semester stipend from the refund. And you can use your refund to pay. I mean, once you get it, I mean, you pretty much pay for her tuition or whatever's left over, or whatever is missing, so that she doesn't go into debt. You see, I mean, that's what I mean. I mean, I always look from it from the perspective of I'm not doing this to put anybody in debt. I'm just here to help people use their benefits, move up in the world. You know, you get that piece of paper, but I don't want to just throw you into a class. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I always ask them. I'm like, man, why are you picking that degree? You know, you're not. That thing is going to give you, man. That's 24 classes. I'm like, and you're using TA, you know, with the amount and with the way that your branch of service. Keep in mind, man, not everybody could be Air Force, but you know, but with some branches, man, you don't have a lot of time to go to school. So if you got to do 24
no, that's
classes,
true.
you know what I mean, and you only can take 2 classes a year, man. When are you ever going to finish? You see what I mean? That's why I'm just telling you, man. I tell them, look,
It'll take a
if
while.
you pick a short,
It takes a while. Yeah. It takes
yeah,
a
yeah.
while.
So if you, for example, if you only had 8 classes for a bachelor's, right? You did 2 classes and then you stopped for a while, let's say a year or 2, and then I reach out to you and say, hey, Jerome, man, you only got 6 classes left, man. Why don't you come on back in and please take 1 class so that you're closer? All right. But instead of like, Jerome, man, you only got 23 more classes, man. You know, like,
Right.
Yeah.
I ain't never coming back.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
If you look at that, you look at it at like Mount Everest, and like, man, that's too high. I ain't never gonna get that high.
Yeah.
But when you
And
start chewing at it a little at a time, like that's why I always start with the associates, the bachelors, because before you know it, man, they chew on it a little piece at a time, man. They're already devouring that whole elephant by the time they're
Right.
done.
Yeah.
Called a degree, okay? The elephant called a degree. But
Because
yeah.
once you get past that bachelor's, the masters kind of go by quick too. So
Yeah, because it's only 9 classes, and if you're
right.
undecided, man,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I got a lot of students that say, I don't know, man, if I want to do that. Well, you can always do both of them. I mean, well, how hard is it? Well, think of it like your bachelor's, where you work. It's all about critical thinking again. You see what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
The only thing is, man, don't use Chat GPT because you're gonna get caught. Right?
yeah. I
And
hope they're
cite
not.
everything, okay?
I hope they're not doing that.
You know what? I mean, when it first started, man, a lot of students were getting caught doing that. That's why I'm like,
Yeah.
man. And the thing is, I said I wouldn't know how to use that anyway because I don't, you know, man.
Mm.
I mean, that stuff is too complicated for me. So I still go old school, read the book, and sometimes, man, I'm telling you, before electronic books, I used to like copy everything on a yellow pad. But and I was so reluctant on getting electronic books. But when one of my friends showed me how to use it, he says, "Look, man, you could just copy, paste it on a Word document, and then read it, and then you can start typing on there instead of you putting it on a yellow pad and then, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
writing." You see what I mean? I was like,
Yeah.
"Dang, man, that
Yeah.
saved me a lot of time, man." And that's one of the reasons why it's a lot quicker to finish because the electronic books makes things a lot easier. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
cites for
Yeah.
you when you drag it. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right. Right.
And as long as,
Once
like
you
you
get,
said, you
it
put,
takes a while to get used to it, but once you,
yeah, once you get
yeah,
used to it, it's so
yeah,
much easier.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Did I think?
So,
Yeah. Go ahead. Good. Because I don't have
so,
that
so
piece of
when,
paper in front of me.
oh no, you fine. So when you talking about using the benefits like for like trade schools or licensing or certifications, you can still, is it like a certain amount that you're allowed to use, or you still get the full amount no matter, because it's not like you getting a degree, an associate's or a bachelor's or a master's, but you're getting something like with a trade school, or a
Well,
certificate or some sort
now,
of license, or maybe an apprenticeship.
well, yeah, like with a trade school, okay, the trade schools are actually good nowadays, man. I mean, because
Mm-hmm.
they really need those people, especially now with
Mm-hmm.
defense, building ships, etc., plumbers, electricians, all that, and they make good income. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
The school that they go to, if they're going to use their benefits, has to be approved by the VA, number one, and they have to at least maintain the full-time status to get the monthly stipend or the full benefit. Okay, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because each school is the one that determines what's full-time and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so like in our case, a full-time student for the bachelor's is taking 2 classes every 2 months.
Right.
All right, and so that's full-time. But at other schools, it could be different. I mean, like I said, it depends on the school and if they're approved by the VA.
Right. Right.
Because I do get
Okay.
people that are coming over here because their school is not approved by the VA,
Mm. Mm.
so they come here. Yeah,
So
so yeah.
Wow.
yeah, I'm pulling up the VA now. I know they got this GI comparison thing where you can look up schools
Yep,
and
yep, yep. Put
and
it
you
in,
see
and
what
it'll tell
schools
you.
qualify
Yep,
for. Yeah,
Oh
what
wow, I
schools
exactly,
never knew
qualify
that.
for it.
exactly. And then you can
Yeah,
compare
GI
how
Bill
much you're gonna get.
comparison tool.
Yep,
hmm
Mm.
that's actually pretty good too. It'll actually tell you
Yeah,
too, because
I just
it'll give
never
you.
clicked on the license and certifications portion of it. So you got any experience with that?
No, because I mean we don't offer that here. All I
Mm-hmm.
know is as
Okay,
long
yeah,
as
yeah.
the school that you're going to is approved by the VA, then obviously they can get you those licenses,
Right.
hmm
or at least prepare you for the test, because some of them require a test to get those certifications.
Mm-hmm. How does like your GI Bill to your spouse or your dependents, or or your
Well,
children
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're talking about the post 9/11. Okay, they got to
post 9/11?
transfer it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, keep in mind, it's been a while since I looked, but the
Yeah.
person would have had, back then, it was like you had to have served over 10 years, or at least your retainability takes you to 10
Mm-hmm.
years
Mm-hmm.
before you can transfer it. And you have to have at least 3 years left on your contract to transfer the benefit to your family member. I mean, most of the time, just even if you just transfer 1 month each, you can always, um, you know, mess around with
Yeah.
it and transfer more, transfer back, etc. But
Right.
the rule of thumb is 10 years in, or at least 10 years in, and out of that, let's say that you've been in 7 years and you still have 3 years to go, and your enlistment takes you to the 10th year. Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
you can transfer. Like I said, you have to have at least 3 years of retainability, and it has to take you to the 10-year mark for you to do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right, so yeah, yeah,
When
that's
when like with veterans, when they looking for like, okay, I want to start classes, I want to take a class, and they should they be looking for like a military friendly
they
university?
should. I mean,
Yeah.
they should. I mean, let's face because I'm gonna tell you, this is the second school that I worked for. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I liked about this school, I mean, keep in mind, I mean, it was meant for active duty, but it applies to all the students. Okay, regardless if you're a vet or even a civilian. Okay, they so if as long as you complete two of the four modules, okay, before the class ends, you can request a 30-day extension to catch up. All right. I mean, you won't get a lot of feedback because you're on your own at that point because the class is already closed, but they're giving you that extension. Now, um, it's like the school gives you every opportunity to pass. Because I've had a student, I don't know if you guys remember when Turkey shut down, where they closed the base, cut off the internet, etc. But I actually had a student that was over there at the time, and man, I mean, wasn't able to log in, wasn't able to do anything, got an F.
Yeah.
And
Oh
I've been
wow.
trying to reach him, like, dude, man, what happened? He goes,
Yeah.
man, haven't you been looking at the news? You know, and so he wrote, and like I said, this was back then. Okay, so he basically showed everything that was going on, and the school gave him 30 days,
Mm.
okay, to catch up. So he started working on his stuff, and then of course they had that coup d'etat. You know what I mean? There was all that stuff going on in Turkey, and again, the internet got cut off. All right,
Yeah.
so he's
Yeah. Ain't nothing
and
he
so
can
he
do.
get yeah, so he gets another F, right? Because the 30
Mm.
days passes and he wasn't able to submit anything. Did another they call it extenuating circumstance extension, okay? Did another
Okay.
request, the provost approved it, got another 30 days. All right.
Mm.
All right, so he's almost done with the class, but this time he's PCSing out of Turkey. All right. I mean, this is all happening within that couple of months that he's been in that class. So
Yeah.
he's not able to complete it because he's PCSing. But because he's also PCSing again, an extenuating circumstance, they gave him the additional 30 days to catch up, and he finally passed. And I'm like, man, you see, this is what I'm talking about. You pick a long degree, and you're only able to take that one class during that time. When you're ever going to finish?
Right.
Because the military, we always have extenuating circumstances. I mean, you can get deployed, or you just basically you're out somewhere, and then the internet's cut off. I mean, I'm talking about overseas, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's like,
Hmm.
that's why you want a military friendly school that can understand all that. Because I mean, now it's kind of changed, but I'm talking about when I first started here, I was like really surprised at how much they really bent over to help the student graduate. I'm like, man, they actually give you every opportunity to pass, as
Yeah.
long as I,
Yeah.
as long as it's not made up BS. You know what I mean?
Right. 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 It's legit. And being in the military, it's always something going on.
Yeah. Like right
It's
now,
always something
I
going
mean, the guys, the
on.
school is wondering how come the enrollments went down, and I'm like, duh. I mean, all the military guys are
Yeah. Yeah.
they're out deployed. You know what I mean? We're in a war right
Yeah.
now. So,
Right.
I know that they wanted to go to school. They thought they could do it. And then when they go into that shoddy internet, this ain't going to
Yeah.
happen. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Hmm.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
But yeah,
Um,
yeah.
like if somebody's coming up like on 2 years, they about to retire or even
2 years?
separate within 2 years. What type of roadmap should they be looking at when they talked about going to school?
Again, like I said, finish the associates. I
Hmm.
mean, just to at least have that foundation. All right. And try
Yeah.
to get as close to your bachelor's as possible during that 2 year period. I mean, that way, by the time you're out of the military, at least you have a degree.
Right.
And here's another thing too that I mean, and of course, it's just personal advice coming from a vet that was, man, I'm telling you, I got out, and I wish I would have stayed on active duty. And keep in mind, my deployments were so tough. Okay, when I say tough, man, I had to supervise the guys that issued the golf balls for the putt course in Riyadh.
Mm.
Okay, that's how tough my deployments were. Okay, but I got out because of the deployments,
Right.
man. There were too many.
Right.
And I think about it, it's like, man, had I stayed in, I would have retired in 2004 instead of 2015.
Mm.
All right. And look, and it's just that, looking, I tell a lot of guys that are getting out early, I said, look, you got your degree, why don't you or you're close to a degree, why don't you go in the reserves? I mean, you're not going to get your retirement after 20, but when you hit the age of 60, because by the way, I'm 61 now, and I'm just realizing the benefit because I started drawing my pension last year, and I'm like, man, I mean, it's so different because you're getting your pension plus your you get TRICARE,
Yeah.
and it's so cheap. It's like $31 and some change a
Yeah.
month
Right. Right.
for me and my wife. So um, that's why I tell them too. I mean, you already put in that. Especially if they come in 10 years, you've already put in 10 years. I mean, you're doing it part time, 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year. Before you know it, 20 years is up, and you don't have to continue beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and you just got to wait till you're 60 before you draw something. But at least it supplements if you're going to draw Social Security or
Right.
whatever. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
and
Right.
plus you could be, you go to school, or you could even, if you're coming in as you have a degree, apply trying to be an officer, even the reserves.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Go ahead, JP.
No, you just reminded me of something you said earlier about the three key things that you need. And I
in
remember
a
going to a job fair,
yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah. You
guy,
talking about the DOD, yeah, the DOD
yeah,
contractors.
yeah. So he had, he was a veteran. He had a top secret clearance,
Hmm.
but he didn't have a degree. If he'd have had that associates to go with that, he'd have been like a gold
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mine to a DOD company, right? Because he got the top secret
yeah,
clearance.
Yeah.
exactly. That's
So,
I'm telling you. And you know what? It doesn't have to be in that career field, because they told me. Keep in mind, the guys. I mean, I said I don't know nothing about no computer stuff, and he goes, they train you.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's why they want you to have a degree, because they know you can finish something. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
and,
yeah.
and
So
you already
that's
walking in with a top secret clearance. We don't have to
yeah.
get you vetted and all that stuff. You already
Right.
got that
Right.
covered already.
That's less money they got to spend.
Right.
Right,
And it's
right.
easier for you to get your top secret clearance, or even a secret clearance renewed once you already have it,
Hmm.
as long as you don't screw that up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That,
Yeah.
and that's what I was thinking about. Someone coming up on a in their career, if they got those two
All
things
that,
already, a clearance or top secret clearance, and you don't have that degree, man, you need to be pushing towards
yeah,
getting that
you're never
associates.
gonna even you'll never make it to the interview, so they see all that experience. You know what I mean?
Right.
Man, the closest alligator to the boat. Don't be trying to go out here
Yep.
and do something you know
What
you're
would
I,
not going to
be
use later on.
what would be the most underused VA educational benefit in your opinion?
I think it would be the chapter 35 and chapter 31, because the chapter 31,
Really?
VRE, a lot of us don't know about it till after the fact, after you spend money, for example, where you already have a degree. You see what I mean? Just like with Jerome, right? Jerome, you applied for VRE after you already had your degree and had a job. I
Hmm.
applied for VRE same way. And if I would have known what I know now, I would have applied for VRE. You see what I mean? And at least I wouldn't have to find other ways of funding school.
Mm.
I think that's one of the main things that a lot of people think that they have to be 100% to use VRE. No, you be a
Mm.
10%.
10%.
Yeah, to apply for it. I mean, doesn't necessarily mean you'll get approved, but you
Right.
can
Yeah,
apply.
yeah.
You know what
You
I
can
mean?
apply. Okay.
But I guess for me, if you finish your degree on using tuition assistance, then the VRE is already out for you at that
Yeah,
point.
it's out. Unless you get a
Yeah.
good counselor, and it's all dependent on circumstance too. Keep in mind,
Yeah, yeah,
you can
yeah.
have a
There you go. Yeah,
degree,
counselor.
but your disability prevents you from working in that career, and you need to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's key too. Also, yep,
Okay, yeah,
they did
it's
say
all
that.
about, yeah. They want you to be gainfully employed where it doesn't affect your
Hmm.
disability. That's why when you said that they look at your paperwork, all right. So how's this disability gonna? How's this gonna help your disability? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're already gainfully employed, man, you're just SOL for the most part. Okay, like I said, it's all dependent on the advisors. So
Yeah. What is like some good websites that someone that every transitioning service member should have like bookmark at all
I think,
times?
yeah, the VA website is a good source. I mean, keep in mind, I mean, everything's actually on the VA website. It's
Yeah.
just that you got to look and you got to search for it. You
Yeah,
know what I
you got
mean?
to know where to go. Yeah, you got to know where to
Yeah.
Well,
go.
there,
It's a
but keep
lot
in
on
mind,
there.
there's a lot, but there's also a search engine.
That's true.
Hmm.
Yeah, you type in what you're looking for, and then it'll come up with all kinds of stuff, and then you just look which one applies to you.
Yeah.
All right, because I mean, I found a lot of stuff using the search, and I'm like, man, I didn't even know this exists.
Yeah. Yeah. The VA
You
gives a
know, I
lot of
mean,
information.
yeah,
A
yeah. I
lot of
mean, like
information.
just like the benefits. I mean, I didn't even know about a clothing allowance.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I found that out from another vet. Then I went into the VA website and searched it, and all you got to do is fill it out. I mean, they pay you a certain amount per
Yeah.
device
Yeah. Right. 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 And you got to have it submitted by August 1st of every year.
next
So
year, right?
yeah. Yeah. So every August 1st, you have to have it submitted by August 1st.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah,
I just got a
yeah,
brace, man. They put on
yeah. But
knee
it's like
brace.
wear and tear in your shorts,
Yeah, and the
pants, or whatever
clothes.
like that. Clothing
Yeah.
lines. Yeah,
I mean, it's
Hmm.
something, you know. I mean, yeah,
it's
like
something.
you said, you know, and when you're looking about, man, don't think of it as like being small little benefits, even the travel disbursements. Because I mean, I'm gonna
Oh,
tell you,
I use them.
yeah, but for the longest I didn't, man. I'm like, I ain't messing with that. And then,
Yeah,
you know, after they said, man, you look for the amount of times you go to the VA every month. Think about the amount of money that you're basically leaving on the table. I said, you know what, you're right, and you know what,
yeah,
it adds up. You know, $10 here, $10 there. You know, it's man. I mean, it does add up. Where versus you
yeah,
getting nothing. You know.
yeah, yeah. And
So yeah,
sometimes I look at it like they paid me because I might have to wait a little bit longer for whatever reason. They might be
yeah,
running
yeah.
behind, so they just
Hey,
paid
as
me to
long as
wait a
it's
little
coming,
longer.
man. And the good thing about the VA, man, I mean, except for the travel and reimbursements, that you have to do that within 30 days. Okay, but you know, like other benefits, they give you up to a year. You know what I mean? If you
Mhm,
haven't used it, yeah,
mhm.
just like this, the Montgomery GI Bill. If you're currently in school and you're not using any GI Bill at all, and you get approved for that Montgomery GI Bill, you can still get it backdated up to a year.
Mm,
Hmm.
All right, so
mm.
just think about that. If you don't have any, if you got it and you aren't using any other thing, any GI Bill for school,
Yeah.
hey, get retro certified. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, man,
So
that was
where
a great thing about the VA.
they would go to the VA website to get that retro payment.
No,
Where would
no,
they
no,
go?
no, no, no. So what happens? Okay, keep in mind the school has to certify them that they're actually
Hmm.
in school. You see what I mean?
Right.
So once they get the COE, they send it to their finance advisor at the school or whoever the VA certifying official is, who in
Mhm.
turn will submit the certification electronically to the VA. And once the
Oh,
VA gets
okay.
it, they will pay for that because they have proof that you went to school.
There you go.
All right,
So
yeah,
you
man.
just
I
have to,
mean,
yeah, you got to do a little bit, but it's on the school to submit it on your behalf that
yep,
you
it
are
has to be the school, right?
certified.
And like I said, if you keep on waiting, let's say that you're out of school, like the guy I was telling you about, his classes end at the end of this month. And I said, if you don't do that now, and then you wait until like September, October, then you're losing a month every time because they
Mhm.
can
Hmm.
only back pay it up, or they can only backdate it up to a year.
Okay.
All right, so
What
that's
it?
why I'm. Go ahead, man.
And all he has to do
Oh,
is reach out to the
okay. Go ahead.
school to get certified and
Yeah, and they're just gonna
got
ask
it.
for the COE, and then they attach their paperwork and certify.
Mm. What if
Okay.
I had I had a child that was like a freshman or a sophomore, but I was still active duty, and I just retired, got 100%, and now they're able to use Chapter 35.
Now, keep in mind, Chapter 35 is only good for when you got to 100%. All right,
Ah, I
all
got
right.
you. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's when the benefit actually starts.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not
Yeah,
like,
you
you
right.
know,
You
I
right.
mean, it'd
And
be different if you're
yeah.
100% and they've been in school and haven't been using it, then they can get back paid up to a year.
Mm, mm,
Well, hold,
mm.
I got it. It's a different scenario. So you're on active duty. Your child starts college using the 911.
Hmm.
You retire and get 100%. So now you want to save those 911 months for yourself. You put your child on chapter 35.
Hmm.
Simple process,
But you
right?
couldn't do that though.
You can stop one and then change it with the other. But keep in
Because
mind, there's a big
every semester you have to apply pretty much every semester.
well, yeah, you get certified with the VCO, the verifying certifying official. Okay. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, just like with us, we certify the vet every 2 months
Yeah,
because each
yeah,
time
that's a
each
fact.
time the
Hmm.
class comes in, they get
Yeah.
certified. Okay, so yeah, so if you tell them, hey, I don't want to use this benefit, I want to use this benefit, they'll stop
Mm,
one and then certify you on the other. Or if they've already
mm.
Okay.
certified you, they'll cancel that certification and then switch over this. But keep in mind, the only bad thing about that is just like anything else, man, the VA is a bureaucracy, okay? And with any bureaucracy, when you start switching things around,
Yeah,
you got too many cooks in that pot, and then it gets all
yeah.
screwed up. You know what
Right,
I
Hmm.
mean?
right, right.
Hmm.
Then
And
they
then you
start
end up
looking at
owing money.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
right. At the
The
end of
thing
the
is, then
day, yeah, you come
it's
back
like, hey,
like,
we overpaid you, man. You need to pay. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
why once I always go with like, look,
yeah,
once you
you
get a
gotta leave them
benefit,
people alone.
utilize it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Utilize it and let it be.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
I'm pretty
Because
sure
there's more
you've heard
money in
the
the
same stories,
911
right?
also.
Yeah, yeah, it is. There's a lot more money on the 911. It pays based on the zip code of the school, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
for your children. Okay, you know the difference between the post 911. If you were on active duty using the post 911 or the Montgomery GI
Mm-hmm.
Bill, they're only going to refund you up to the cost of the tuition. You don't get anything else, just that cost. Okay, now with the kids, now that's a different story. If even if you're still on active duty and the kids are using the post 911 to go to school, they're actually
Mm-hmm.
getting the BAH and all that stuff because they're a separate entity. And here's another thing too. If your wife does that, all right, while you're still on active duty, they're only going to pay for the tuition, no BAH, because they consider husband and wife as one entity,
Right, right,
right?
right.
But the
We
dependent
already in
children are not.
BH.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just something to I mean, these are like little things. I mean, you pick up, you know what I mean, along the way, because a lot of the stuff that all of us are talking about, you got experience that you've learned from other vets. I too. I mean, you know what I mean. And sometimes we don't know what we don't know.
Right. Right.
So yeah, that's why it's good to talk to other vets because I wouldn't have gotten to where I'm at without another vet telling me what to do. Because I was late, and I'm
Yeah.
telling you, man, I'm old. I mean, I wasn't gonna apply for nothing, man. But they told me, man, you stupid. You know what I mean? I mean, because back then, during my day, man, unless you were missing an arm, a leg, or blind, you didn't apply for anything.
Right. Right.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I had to get somebody to
Yeah.
slap me around, tell me that I was messing up. It's like you serve, and look, man, look at all that stuff that's going on with you. Your kids don't get along with you, blah blah blah. I didn't even know all that stuff, man, until I see, got to see professional help. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm like,
Yeah. Nah. That's a must, man. That's a must. That actually that
yeah,
helps
yeah,
us at the
it
end of the
does, it
day.
does,
So
it does,
it
and
helps us, man.
I have a better relationship now with my kids, understanding, and plus, the VA likes to give you all that candy. You know what I mean? That kind
Yeah.
of numbs you,
Hmm.
so you're a lot more better
Yeah.
person to live with.
Right. Right. Right.
Right.
Because we go through stuff. We go through a lot of
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
We've seen a lot of things. So
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
okay
We should
to
have.
and then the good thing is it's good when the family come back around and kind of they understand you know
Well,
like
and I
they
think
be there for you.
honestly, this job, the reason why I've been on this job so long is because it's also very therapeutic for me to talk to other vets. You know what I mean? Because,
Mm,
man, I mean, if I am, I sometimes get a civilian student on the line, right? And I'm at words I'm lost for words. I
yeah.
don't know how to
Mm,
Communicate with
have any
them.
common. Yeah, I don't have any commonalities. Like, hey, what branch were
Hmm.
you in? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You see what I mean? And then you can joke around with vets. But with a
Yeah.
civilian man, I'm like, so what are you trying? I can't find
Yeah.
the motivation. You know what I mean? I just,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
that's why I said, you know what? Let me pass you on to another advisor.
Mm, mm, mm. And
No,
I
Yeah,
guess
it's
that's
just,
like I was
you
saying
know what you
before.
comfortable with though. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like I was saying before we got started, each week, well, each every 2 weeks we do this with different vets and stuff, and it's all we
Uh-huh.
always learn something from all the
New.
vets that we interview and
Yep.
stuff. It's
Yeah.
like you just said, you learn more talking to more vets, and vets talking to vets. We sharing information, making sure we all
Right.
not leaving any stone unturned with these benefits
Mhm.
and stuff.
And
Mhm.
you know what, man? I mean, and
Mhm.
you talk to a lot of vets, and they take away the embarrassment. You know what I mean? Of, for example,
Yeah.
like the benefit, man. It's like when you think about it, man. Back then, it's taboo to be talking about stuff like that. But when you talk to other vets, man, and you know that they've also experienced the same things, it's just a different vibe. I mean, I could talk to you for a couple of seconds, and I already know yeah, this is like a brother to me. I trust them. Just like me,
Yeah.
with Thais, man, we've never
Yeah.
met him. You know what, man? We've always been talking on the
We
phone
can
for the
talk.
last couple of years,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
never like this.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what I
Yeah.
look like, and vice
Yeah.
versa. Now I
Yeah.
see him,
It's
man,
crazy.
and I
Yeah.
see that we're
Right.
all, we
But we
also got
talk.
all that gray stuff, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah.
Cause you looking like, hey, I wonder what he looked like, and he like, oh
Yeah,
wow, you know. Cause
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I was like, he sound like he young. He sound like he
no,
real
man.
young. But you
Look.
said
The shocking
61.
part
I'm
is when I
like,
go to
wow, he ain't
graduation,
young.
right, and I actually meet my students for the first time. They're really shocked because I'm Filipino, okay? And then they look at
Mm-hmm.
me, man, you one big ass Filipino because I'm 6'1".
Mm-hmm.
You know
Oh
what I
shit.
mean?
For real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
see me, it's like,
Yeah.
man, I didn't realize you were
Yeah.
gonna be so tall. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't realize you
Right,
were gonna be
right,
so
right.
short.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
tell him you not Manny Pacquiao. Shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You see what I mean?
yeah,
Pacquiao, man. I mean, he's
right.
short. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what
Yeah,
people typically think Filipinos are, man. You know, that height.
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah.
you know
That's
what,
that.
man? Good eating is always good, man. Makes you grow.
Yeah, that makes you grow. That's good stuff, man. But
Good
Joji,
stuff.
man,
Oh
I
yeah.
definitely appreciate you, man, for doing this
Well, I
and helping
appreciate the
us out
invite,
and putting
man.
that information, man. Like again, I greatly appreciate what you do for me at all times. And again, doing this is great. I appreciate it, and we definitely need it. Now, hopefully, I had you come back on and give us some
Yeah, yes.
updates on something new.
Right back
You
at you.
know, yeah, yeah. So I definitely appreciate you,
Well, I
man. And
will, man. Look, you know that every time you reach out, right? You know when you reach out to me, I always answer.
you do. I have to
So
say
yeah,
that you
anything else,
always
man?
answer, man.
Just reach out.
I appreciate it,
Oh
man.
yeah. It was a pleasure meeting you, man. You full of a lot of good advice, man. I
Well,
really appreciated this.
yeah, same here, man.
Yeah. How can
Well, I
we get a hold
appreciate
of
all
you?
the
Somebody want
trust
to get a
too, and
hold of you?
this, you know,
Oh,
amongst
so go
all of
ahead, go ahead.
us.
Hmm.
Man, they just, man, all they gotta do is, hey, look, man, you can neither. My number gets blown up a lot. You can give them my email.
Email. I put it. I put it like
No,
my
man, but I
post.
mean, look, if
I
they,
put it in the email. I put it in the email.
no, they can text me like,
I
no, they
got
can
it.
also text me, man. Look, as long as it's a text, because my phone number sends unknown numbers to voicemail.
Yeah, man. You don't want that. They
All
send it
right.
to. I said.
And
I
speaking
put
of
the
Yeah,
which,
work
man,
yeah.
I
address. I
forgot.
put the work email
Yeah,
address in there.
I
It's
actually
fine.
had. Yeah, yeah, we'll get you squared away. I mean, look,
Yeah,
I'll square them away, man. You know,
yeah. I
just
know
let
you
me
will.
know. I
I know
will
you will.
answer. Like I said, just let them know that I'm not going to remember Jack.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? After that, because I talk to so many students, you got to remind me.
yeah.
All right, what
Hmm.
program you're in, what your finance options are, and then we can go from there. You know what I mean?
Right,
But if you're going to ask me what we did last week, I'm not going to remember even yesterday. Okay?
right, right, right. I
That's
got
why
you.
I'm glad
Hey,
you
man.
reminded me, man. Look, you reminded me a couple of times, man, because honestly, I almost forgot about this appointment.
Don't worry about it. I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
You part of the OLD gang, so you good.
Well, DK.
Yeah, yeah.
I got
That's
it.
what I say. Yeah, he must be freezing up again. Oh, you back?
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So again, man, hey, Georgie, man, thanks again, man, and I appreciate again what you do for me and the rest of the veterans out here. You take care of a lot of us. You do.
I appreciate you, man.
I'm just gonna stop it to make sure.